what's the difference between THC and CBD? THC is what gets you high. It has a psychoactive element to it. And CBD is more natural. It makes you more calm. That's why you can see it in more natural and dietary supplements. Rachel and Jen are currently the only baby crib providers in the Columbia area. Baby Clip is just one of many businesses that can be worked around a busy schedule. African Americans account for 10% of the Columbia community, but they account for about 32% of traffic stops. Missouri is the home of two large cities, Kansas City and St. Louis, and Chicago, which is just a state away. Pebble says that our centralized location can attract a number of sex and labor traffickers. The group Faith of Vision is spending the night calling prospective Missouri voters. The multi-faith, multi-racial grassroots group has been working since September, focusing on minority voters who did not vote in the last midterm election. Missouri House bill and a Senate bill would allow more protection for those who are accused in a Title IX case. The bill mimics themes proposed by Federal Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos. Both lawmakers are pushing for due process and Title IX procedures. That man tells me that there was a firewall that blocked the fire from his unit. And neighbors knocking on his door telling him about the fire. Here at the Broadway Hotel, they're using more modern methods to get rid of their waste. They use an internal storage unit that collects all of the grease inside of the hotel and stores it inside instead of putting it outside. It's going to cost a lot to replace the AC units that were right behind me at Discovery Church. The pastor told me it was about $11,000. All that for only $60 worth of copper. That mother is facing 3 felonies. This is the bathtub where the police say the incident happened. She is now on a ventilator with burns covering much of her body. Prosecutors say they found drugs in the mother's apartment and in the child's system. But the mother's family claims she's innocent and places the blame somewhere else.
It was pretty hairy there for a while because we weren't even sure the baby was going to make it.
Lake Ozark Police Chief Gary Launderville said the scene was very difficult. Sunday night, first responders found the 6-month-old with third-degree burns. Prosecutors blamed the girl's mother, Elizabeth Austin, for leaving the bathwater so hot.
The water heater was set at the maximum possible setting, and so the water was coming out of the tap at over 130 degrees.
Tonight, Austin's aunt and sister-in-law came to her defense.
She's a good mom, and she should not be in jail.
They say Austin was dealing with her 4-year-old child when the incident happened. Crystal Austin says the apartment is to blame for the baby's burns on 33% of her body.
The apartment building ain't got a lock on the water thing, the hot water tank, because there's no way in the world, I don't care, that water should have been that hot.
Heart-wrenching. The officers that were there, my detective responded as well as myself. You know, anytime you have a 6-month-old baby, it's hard.
The family says they're confident Austin will beat the charges, and they think she'll get her kids back. Right now, those children are in CPS custody. Although the members of the CPD workforce meeting come from different backgrounds, they shared the same goal: to start a conversation. This was the first meeting that the department held with members of the Columbia community. It's in response to 2017 data that revealed possible racial disparities in traffic stops. African Americans account for 10% of the Columbia community, but they account for about 32% of traffic stops. Police stop blacks more than 3 times the expected rate. Interim Chief Jeff Jones says he wants to spark change.
I don't have all the answers as to why that occurs, and in the past we have taken that information, said it was insufficient, and pushed it on down the road. And I don't want to keep kicking the can. I want to get to the bottom of it.
And he says the voices of the community are the only way to get there.
But as I look around the table and see a lot of the officers and see what's going on, I see no group of African Americans that's sitting around the table.
So the meeting ended up with the goal of adding diversity to the committee. But this is only the beginning.
I would like to see a group of people who are willing to have honest, upfront conversations about the data, about the things that affect traffic stops, and to come up with community-wide solutions.
The group spent much of its time tonight looking at ways to add more diversity to the committee. The next meeting is set for March 11th. In the studio, I'm Reel-Arielle, Cadet, KMU8 News. Special education teacher Sydney Conley has worked at Morrow Heights Elementary School for about 4 years now. She works with students who live with a range of disabilities. The gift she received today could change a lot of her students' lives.
I don't have one student that's verbal.
The end of the school day brought a surprise for special education teacher Sydney Conley. Her classroom was filled with co-workers and friends and a special gift she knew nothing about. The Jefferson City Public Schools Foundation received an anonymous donation of $10,000 that they gifted to Mrs. Conley's class of 6 special education kids.
I've always wanted to give kids that don't have a voice.
Of the 6 children in Conley's classroom, 3 of them are wheelchair-bound, 1 has autism, and all of them are nonverbal. Conley hopes to use some of the money to provide equipment that will help the children with their communication skills.
I've become pretty inventive in this classroom as far as, okay, this kid needs this, so what can we maneuver, what can we make to help that student? So now with this money, hopefully I don't have to maneuver and make as much.
The money can also help the children with more than just their communication skills.
To adaptive equipment that help with motor skills, to toys that help with social development.
Conley said every day with her students is different, which makes it challenging and rewarding, and this surprise might make learning a little easier.